Now, data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that Nigeria's Ogun State is the third largest mobilizer of internally generated revenue, coming after Lagos and Rivers State. CNBC Africa discusses the state's plan to attract investors and more with the governor of the state, Ibikunle Amosun.
Well, it is the totality of what we do. I told you when we came, we realized that yes, we must change the way we run our government. And that's what we devised immediately. It's called Ogun Standard. Ogun Standard will mean the totality of how we do our business in the area of service delivery, in the area of even contract execution. All of those, how we, as a state, how people perceive us. Perception matters. And they will not just perceive you to be good if you are bad. So for us, we realized that if you're able to put all of those boxes, we're able to tick them. Security is there, infrastructure is there. Of course, we change the way we do things. We have this one-stop shop. We are encouraging people. I mean, land is so easy to access. Documentation, title, we simplify everything. So everybody was coming. And clearly, it means one thing. It's just going to be up there. And that's why it was so easy for us. Even within the first 2 years, we moved from that paltry 700, 730 million monthly to about 2 billion. And the 5th year or so, indeed, before the end of the 4th year, we were knocking 5 billion. Okay. So now we are doing 7 billion, and we believe that there's still more that can be done. I mean, 7 billion, yes, people say, oh, looking at where we are coming from, oh, that we have done wonderfully well. But no, we believe that even before we leave, before the end of this administration next year, maybe we still about a year to go, we are looking at, we should be able to be very close to 10 billion monthly. So, and I think that is the way to go.
Okay, let's talk about the mining sector, because I know that, I mean, you focused on key sectors, especially the labor-intensive sectors, but I know that you also want to focus on mining. But in terms of the groundwork that's been done, maybe from a policy side to create a fair playing ground for investors to come, what have you done?
Yeah, except for, if not for probably the way mining was classified in our constitution, it's more of an exclusive list, really. States do not have control over all of those, what I call resources, we call them natural resources, because we are like #1 in limestone, I mean, deposit of limestone within the corridors of, indeed, as we speak today, we are the #1 state in the manufacturing and production of cement. It's not just only that. If you look at others and all of those things that we have, several of it, but the problem is this: it is the federal government that gives the license. What we do is to create that enabling environment to support them. Indeed, I think there was a study, I mean, and that study says that Ogun State in mining, we are like #1, particularly in the area of maybe cement manufacturing. So clearly, there's a lot of opportunities that is there for us, and that's why now we are in the process of getting people of like minds as the states of like mind, that yes, states should be allowed to have control, at least if not total control, partial control over whatever deposits that they have. But in spite of all of this, what I call temporary hindrance and the constraints, what we do is to still encourage all will be investors to say that, oh, this is who we are. We're endowed with this, all of these natural assets. What can you do to come and assist us with it? And of course, a lot of them are with us, not just in the area of cement, just like what I told you, in other different other natural resources that have been.
Okay, with the major changes that we've seen in Ogun State, you've come to a point where you feel like the state now contributes more to the federal federation account, and you believe that what Ogun State gets in return in terms of, I mean, fiscal disbursement is no longer commensurate with what Ogun State gives out, and you want this to change. Tell us what you're doing to pursue it.
Well, what we are doing is what we are doing. We have to go. You know the way it is. Anything that is constitutional, for it to happen, for it to be changed, what you need to do is you need to lobby such that both the National Assembly, both houses of the National Assembly will have to probably agree with you. And of course, without question, that is given, that is taken, that our state of assembly, the Ogun State House of Assembly, the legislative arm, of course, they want it, we've even passed it into law that no, this is not good in the area of non-oil. Our contribution within the context of Nigeria is about maybe #2, or maybe at worst, maybe they will say we are third. But when they were distributing when distribution is being done in the area of non-oil, Ogun State is that far behind their 26th position. Which to me, if I talk about restructuring, people come up with different names really. For me, those are the kind of things we think we should look into. We have written, and I'm sure that the way it's going, I think in the final analysis at the end of the day, they will look into that. For me, I don't have any problems. I believe in Nigeria. I believe that even it is our size that is our strength really. And I believe that there's no way, that the part can be bigger than the whole. That is better for us once the whole is well put together, which is, I'm now referring to Nigeria as a nation. For me, yes, any arrangement, any restructuring, they call it physical, either different names. Don't let me just. This is not political. We are talking.
But what do you call it? Well, how do you define it?
No, when I say they believe that he's saying this because Ogun State is maybe favored, or Ogun State is opportunist, lucky to have it. It's just beyond luck, really. We work for it. Even within our college, we say, you have IGR, don't talk. It is people that I don't have. I say, do they just dash people IGR? We work for it. So for me, physical federalism. Okay. I like to say it like that, and they tell you that, physical federalism, so is it just about money? And then it's beyond money, I agree. But at least what is right is right. It is not that somebody will be doing this hard work and will not be commensurately compensated. Look at the area of even all this infrastructure that we are creating. Before now, I think even in the last maybe 10 years, 9 years, there was this flood. For some roads for 2 years, nobody can pass in this Ogun State once it's rained. Ibikunle, Ijebu, all of those major towns, they cannot do anything again. And we realized that, no, let's just face this thing. We went on this infrastructural drive. Everywhere we were constructing, creating drains, creating everything. So much so that there was, when it rains now, we know here Ogun State is flooded, this, that. And when the federal government wanted to give people money, they would give those people that they did not prepare, prevent, and not proactive enough to prevent those flooding. They will say states that have been ravaged by flood, they will give them big money. And states like us that have spent so much money to prevent that flooding from happening, they say, you don't have problems. And I ask them, wait a minute, for crying out loud, to you now, so there is no reward for doing well. It is those people that say, okay, don't worry, we don't have the money to prevent this flood, we don't have to do the road, we don't have to create infrastructure. When they have this crisis, they do have the crisis too, really. Okay. When it happens, it's true. Even me, I'll feel for them. But clearly, I would have loved a position where they will realize that, this particular state, have actually invested heavily to prevent this, what is happening. But for them, people are not believing in prevention. It's better than cure.
Your Excellency, let's talk about, earlier today you talked about the fact that, you have a very short time left to spend 7 years. You talked about the fact that you've been able to focus on building strong institutions here and not strong personalities, and you've been able to put in place a system that's going to be sustained, that the new administration can come and build on it. Tell us more about that in terms of the kind of sustainable system you've put in place. And do you have concerns about how, the legacies you're leaving behind, and if, at least maybe to some extent, some of them will be maintained?
I believe that our people, because I'm saying this with a sense of responsibility and humility. In the context of Nigeria, they know. If you mention, everybody knows this is where Ogun State is. I'm proud to say this. We are the state of all of those positive forces. And so, which means our job is well cut out for us. We cannot afford to drop the ball. So for me, as a person, I want to be remembered that once upon a time, one young boy came, that's Senator Ibikunle Amosun. And what he did, he created that enabling environment for business to thrive. He created a system-driven environment. He's the one person that rather, just which is what happens in our climb here. People will be busy, busy strengthening individual development. No, rather than deepening institutions, building, coming up with very strong institutions that will now checkmate whoever comes. So it will not matter. Look at Italy, for instance. If you see the turnover of their either prime minister or president that they have, the turnover is so high, but institutions are there to guide them, to protect them, to make sure that nothing can go wrong. And one thing I want to be remembered for is that human capital and development. Not just, yes, it's good to develop all these infrastructures and all of those. If you don't have that human capital is not developed, then clearly they will not be in a position to sustain all of those wonderful legacies. So for me, and that's why I'm happy with what all of these development partners are doing. Just last week, DFID, GIZ, and I think World Bank, all of them, they came together. They are assisting us to reform our civil and public sector, because we realize that, yes, good as our intention may be, we are limited. We can't do more than our term, which is 2 terms of, if you are lucky to do the second term like me, of total of 80 years. But there are some people there that they will have to spend 35 years of their life there. Those are the landlords, and these are the real owners of all of these our states. And an administration will be successful largely to the extent of the kind and quality of the public and civil servant that it has and the support that they're given. So for me, those areas where I want to be remembered, one, to see that, oh, I have changed the face of our civil and public sector, such that they will adhere strictly to the best practices in the world, such that anybody from here can be to anywhere, so it doesn't get any better. That's what we are trying to do. We are building capacity for them. So those are the things that will outlive us.
That was Ibikunle Amosun, the Governor of Ogun State.